Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports, where we go over everything that's happened this week in Philadelphia sports. Again, thank you so much for hanging out this past weekend during our NFL draft streams. I can't believe how many of you tuned in, dropped your support, and shared what was a roller coaster weekend with all of us here at Philly Sports Network. Apologies, this video is a day late. I was a little bit tired, shall we say, from that. There is so much to digest, and not even just in terms of the Philadelphia Eagles, who most recently waived Nate Herbig. We got to touch on that because that's annoying. But also went and fortified their team for years to come, bringing in a star wide receiver by the name of AJ Brown. And do you know what? I'm going to take like 58 minutes of analysis and try to cram it into about 38 seconds. Number one, it's Howie Roseman's season. It always has been. It always will be. And number two is that Howie Roseman built this team in the way I thought that he would, focusing on high character, high rate athlete guys who can come in and not only just make an instant impact, but grow with this team for 5 years. And that goes for AJ Brown as well. And there was a lot of noise on social media recently about whether the Eagles are a win now team or not, and saying that because they've got a guy on a 5-year contract, they're a win now team. And ultimately, just because they can mean now doesn't mean they are YOLOing every asset for the immediate future. That's the difference, I think. But can this team go and compete? It all rests on one man. Jalen Hurts is pretty much the last man in Call of Duty search and destroy mode at this point, and everybody knows pressure makes diamonds. You're either going to get a quick scope off the top of high rise, or you fall to your death off the crane, and everyone laughs at you a lot. And this didn't happen to me ever, actually, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up. Jalen Hurts is now in the perfect situation in the NFL. There is no denying it. He could not physically be in a better situation. It's like saying you want a new car and then Elon Musk like flying to your house in a SpaceX rocket, landing in front of it and delivering you a Tesla off the back of it. There is nothing that could top it. Except, I don't know, a Lambo, maybe, I guess. Howie Roseman has built this team around Hurts in a way that I've not seen a team do. And if they have, tell me. I'll be fascinated to know. But I've not seen a GM get 2 former teammates in 2021, get his best friend in 2022, along with another former teammate in the draft and another one as an undrafted free agent. Like, this is literally just Jalen Hurts' boy band taking over the world. Are they going on a world tour? Absolutely. Do I want front row tickets? Absolutely. But there is a good chance that it might not live up to expectation right away. Sure, the rest of the boy band are great, and they do great backing vocals, and one plays guitar, and one is fantastic on drums, and the other one has got a floppy haircut that looks a lot better than this. But the lead singer live can sometimes sound a little bit like me, I guess. I think the whole of Philadelphia wants Jalen Hurts to succeed. That is absolutely fair to say. Fans, media, coaching staff, you name it, everyone wants Jalen Hurts to go and secure that QB1 spot long term. The good news is the Eagles have done everything they can to make sure he has the best chance of making that happen. The bad news is the Eagles have done everything they can to give him the best chance of making that happen. Because if Jalen Hurts does not take a significant step forward in 2022, if he does not prove he can be a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, there are going to be some serious reservations. Because I think, in brutal honesty, I could quarterback behind that offensive line with that run game, with those receiving weapons, including Dallas Goedert, and I don't know, last at least a drive before I got taken out. Hurts has the perfect offense built around his strengths, with the players that he's familiar with and loves as friends. There is no way you could get a better setup. So if he doesn't take off, then I think the Eagles are going to have to find a new QB in 2023. But if he does, and that's what I would be betting on as a betting man before you will start shouting at me in the comments, then I think the Eagles are really onto something here. It's a unique way of building a team, because not only are they still looking for those high character guys who are leaders and freak athletes, but also have ties to the coaching staff or even Hurts himself. And this even goes onto the defensive side of things, where defensive line coach Tracy Rocker originally recruited Jordan Davis. We get to Nakobe Dean, a teammate of Jordan Davis. If anyone in the NFL draft knew the extent of Nakobe Dean's injury concerns, it was someone that played every snap of football alongside had him last year. And that says all you need to know. Did Howie Roseman win this NFL draft? Absolutely, until, I don't know, near the end where he started trading away picks. And we had 2 picks in 4 rounds, and I was sat there for 5 hours having to fill a lot of airtime. So thanks, Howie. Thank you for that. But in all seriousness, it's hard to say that he didn't, because he ticked every box, and the boxes he didn't, there's at least a logical plan there. If we take safety, right? Everyone assumed it would be Tyrann Mathieu if they come away with the NFL draft with nothing, but it doesn't have to be, because it turns out Honey Badger wanted a lot of honey. Eagles didn't want to give the Honey Badger a lot of honey, and instead, I don't know, just trusted a rabbit to hop about a bit. Marcus Epps, the little kangaroo, is now going to be bouncing around the secondary, and I've made an article about this before, but I think Marcus Epps does something neat. Say what you want, maybe he's not the most talented in the world, he's only on a 1-year deal, there's no long-term stability, sure, but with Anthony Harris over the top, Epps can play underneath as a box safety, and they often had an extra man in the box last year for those duties, and he had a missed tackle rate of 6.8%, almost 6.9. Tyrann Mathieu had a missed tackle percentage of 9.5%, and that was his second best career grade. So the Eagles have a niche in Marcus Epps, who is PFF's highest graded run defending safety, on a Wednesday at 4 p.m. when the rain's slightly torrential and the wind's 8 degrees, and Anthony Harris is solid in coverage. You then add a revamped linebacker core with guys like Kazir White and Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is not my lover. And you've got yourself a very strong defense. At cornerback, people wanted to go out and get a first-round pick. I get it. Let's not forget the Eagles traded for 2 young prospects last year, one of which is Tay Gowan, who I had an eternal draft crush on, and I think is a viable shoe-in to win that CB2 role. Grow into a potential CB1. If not, you've got assets to acquire that guy later on. We now know the Eagles aren't afraid to go and get a young star, and then eventually replace Darius Slay, which one that may be. Those were the 2 biggest holes. Outside of that, Jason Kelsey handpicked his own backup, which is a pretty weird thing to say, I think. You know, I mean, I can imagine picking a successor to PSN. I think I might cry a little bit, actually. Oh, when don't I cry? But at the end of the day, Howie did everything he needed to do to put this team in the best position to succeed and put his quarterback in the best position to succeed. It's something they didn't really do to this extent under Carson Wentz, and that has to be acknowledged and appreciated and applauded, and any other word beginning with A. As for the release of Nate Herbig, I understand his agent wanted to make him a starter, or believed he had starting capabilities. I think the Eagles should have signed him to a longer-term deal this offseason. Let's say Marlowe walk, plug Herbig in, bish, bash, bosh. There's your offensive line. Dickerson, Herbig, and then you've got Cam Jurgens in the middle. We had 2 bookend tackles. But no, let's let Herbig walk, have 1 more year of Sayamalo, and then have to either overpay him or find someone else. It's not the best strategy in the world, guys, is it? It's not gone well. But alas, I'm not going to rant too much about the Eagles because there is way too much to be happy about right now. And I know being negative is my thing as a Brit, but we're going to move on. Phillies host the Texas Rangers for the first time since 2017 and are coming off the back of a 2-1 series loss to the New York Mets. Imagine my shock. The offense has been getting better, though. That's the main thing. The bats have actually started producing. That's probably the best thing we could say about them at this point. But the bullpen and anything pitching related has been a bit mid up to this point. Aaron Nola doesn't look like Aaron Nola. Zach Wheeler doesn't look like Zach Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez looks like Ranger Suarez. But we'll see how they get on against the Rangers team, who are also struggling with some pitching issues and may provide the Phillies with enough of an opportunity to get a couple of wins at home. Kyle Lowry is out of Wednesday's game for the Philadelphia 76ers, which is huge. Miami Heat won the opening game of the series in a relatively close-fought contest, considering the Sixers didn't have Joel Embiid. And if the Sixers can just steal 1 game before Embiid gets back, then they have every chance of winning this series in 6. I mean, Sixers in 6 just has a ring to it. It's a great podcast, by the way, if you don't listen to it already. And I think that just overall, this team is in a good spot to make a run. But if they don't, Doc Rivers is going to have his head on a spike, and it's not going to end very prettily. But I think we are seeing the rise of Tyrese Maxey. The partnership with him and James Harden is going well, and they're proving that they can survive without Joel Embiid, and that is at least a sign of encouragement. Even if they're not, you know, dancing around the disco room just yet, they're kind of wobbling like a baby gazelle, and that's fine until it's not. So turn it on Wednesday. Let's see what happens. The Philadelphia Flyers, Ended their season, let's go! That was a nightmare. What a mess. What a mess. But an off-season of change is here for the Flyers, and we'll be here to document every step of the way, so don't forget that. And your Philadelphia Union are still atop the Eastern Conference. They face LAFC this weekend in what promises to be a very fun matchup. So are the Union going to go all the way this year, just in time for England to beat America in the World Cup? And then you guys never know the end of it. We're only going to find out one way. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name's Liam Jenkins. If you could drop a like and hit that subscribe button, that would be great. I'll see you next time for another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports. Take care and go Birds.